Troubled by the lack of control it was able to exert over the renegade demons, the ultimate evil traveled north into the Plaguelands. This area was home to the undead, who had eked out an existence there for eons. It was certain they would be eager to join the ultimate evil. Word of the ultimate evil's presence had spread among the supporters of the Alliance like wildfire. The evil would soon have to deal with their unwillingness to tolerate its presence. Enemies have entered the dungeon. Payday! Although the Horde was still exposed to constant Alliance attacks, the offensive, tactic-loving evil did not hesitate. It sent some cannon fodder, creatures, to the surface. In the east of the posh lands lay a small Alliance camp that looked after the area's agriculture. This wouldn't be of much help against a bunch of crazed orcs. Payday! There are enemies in your dungeon. The Alliance's outpost in the east was unable to resist the horde. Another part of the posh lands fell to make room for some beautiful tombs, from which undead would soon rise. Enemies have entered the dungeon. There are enemies in your dungeon. In the middle of the Poshlands, directly at a crossroads, there lay the small but well-fortified village of Bunnyfield. The Alliance would send small attack groups towards the dungeon from here as well. It's payday. Defend the throne room. A room full of rats has been unearthed. Enemies have entered the dungeon. There was a small Alliance military camp to the south, which guarded the border to the Poshlands. An attack from inside the Poshlands would be sure to surprise them. Enemies have entered the dungeon. There were few that could withstand the ultimate evil's horde. The The Alliance's military camps in the south were obviously not amongst those rare few. They disappeared from the surface faster than a brain amidst a horde of zombies. The throne room is under attack. It's payday. There are enemies in your dungeon. Just in time, or rather better late than never, some of the Horde's troops appeared from the south. They had presumably just come from paying a brief visit to their favorite pub, the Winchester, which was run by two brothers. Whatever. These troops came to help, and the ultimate evil could certainly make good use of them. There are enemies in your dungeon. Payday! After the Alliance had repeatedly failed with their clumsy wave tactics, the decision was made to overrun the ultimate evil with a single giant attack. Of course, this would fail, but it would be close. Very close. From the book Plaguelands, Until the Morning Mists Arise. The undead in these lands were a scary lot. They lacked any of the glitz and glamour which we now associate with the undead, particularly vampires. It would be completely futile to search for a teen love story anywhere around here. There are enemies in your dungeon. The last Alliance forces have been defeated, and with them, the armies of good have been driven back, for the time being at least. Now it was time to change tack and start the attack. The posh lands now needed to be restored to their former glory.
Oh God! It's the Slender Man! Run!
Oh, sorry, just my shadow. Payday! The capital of the Pocklands lay in the northwest of the country. Hipster Bridge. Yes, just terrible. But what can you do? Despite its ridiculous name, Hipster Bridge was heavily guarded and would resist attack by all means possible. The Horde would have to work hard here to bring the city back into the Plaguelands. Stanley was wondering whether he should return to his desk. Sorry. Mission accomplished. The Poshlands were history, so 3 cheers for the Plaguelands. It wouldn't be long before the undead would rise again. Skeletons, zombies, white wanderers, well, maybe not the latter. And rise they did. To be honest, they were actually less than the astounded evil expected, but still. It used its mental abilities to reach out to them in order to seize them and to bring them under its control. But the evil did not succeed. Another power had already taken possession of them. A massive shape rose from a crypt in the east. It started to speak in the ultimate evil's direction.
You hold no power here. I will only obey the King of Gondor. I mean, the ultimate evil. It is time for you to die, oh living ones.
This was a tad unexpected for the ultimate evil. It would seem there was an imposter out there trying to usurp its title. It would have to worry about that later, though. This threat had to be dealt with first, as the undead were obviously baying for a fight with the Horde. It could safely be assumed that whoever was controlling the undead was doing so from somewhere up in the wild region of the Plaguelands. The ultimate evil would need to send its troops there in order to eliminate this threat. Once again, the strange figure appeared, just like it had done several times before. The creatures of the unspeakable evil paused, confused, uncertain what to do.
You fool! I warned you not to start a civil war! For that, you will pay!
With these words, the mysterious figure disappeared once again. Probably hadn't had enough breakfast. Never mind. There's a skeleton king in the crypt just waiting to be pounded into a pulp by the horde. You shouldn't keep him waiting. That would be rude. Once, the Plaguelands were a cozy place for the undead. However, after the ultimate evil's fall, the place was taken over by a group known as the Crimson Crusade. They transformed it into the Poshlands. They even made a film about it, a very sad story called Unlife is Beautiful.
This is where the dead do rest. There is no place for the living here. Meet my sword. Frostgard is hungry.
It was obvious that negotiations were not an option. Therefore, the powerful evil chose one of its most well-proven tactics to solve the problem. Hit it till it stops moving. The Skeleton King was unable to withstand the unspeakable evil's creatures and crumbled to dust under their mighty blows like a vampire in sunlight. Just like a proper vampire does. Not one of those little twilight wussies. But I digress. The undead remained completely unimpressed and steadfastly refused to be controlled by the ultimate evil. Something out there was stopping them. However, without a leader, they were no longer a threat to the horde. They just trudged about mindlessly, completely devoid of control. They were therefore useless to the ultimate evil. So the evil pushed on towards King's Ending in order to destroy the Alliance's remaining heroes there.